He told the solution was suggested, as Dr. Nanjali has pointed out, that consolidate small holding and increase the land size. Larger holding are more efficient than small. So increase the land size and efficiency will go increase. Dr. Ambedkar took an economist position. It's a no. It's a legal solution, consolidation of holding. You are forcing people to put the land together from one place to the another. Increase the land size won't work. Your productivity is low simply because you have more labor and less capital in agriculture. There has to be a proportion between the two. The proportionality of input use in agriculture is a key thing. Your surplus labor, idle labor. So take this idle labor to industry, invest more capital in agriculture and productivity. Now he gave a solution that to take the surplus labor from agriculture to industry, you have to have industrialization. So he emphasized industrialization very much. For the positive backward impact on agriculture, as the people will move away, land pressure will go down, land size will increase. Once the land size automatically increases, productivity increases. And he will also, as a result, what happens is voluntary and involuntary unemployment put together lead to lot of higher unemployment. I have seen the unemployment rate of scheduled caste for 2012. The unemployment rate for the scheduled caste is about 7.5%. For OBC, I think it is about 6%. For others, it is 4 point something. Average is around 5%. So you can see that the unemployment rate of the scheduled caste is several points higher than that of others. Part of the reason is discrimination in employment. So let me stop it here. Dr. Ambedkar analyzed the economics of classes. They can discover that the economic inequality and the situation of Dalit was deplorable simply because of the caste economics. And of course, additionally, untouchability. He has also examined the aspect of untouchability. There are other reasons. I don't have a time. Dr. Nanjali has made a mention to it that you are not allowed to take a job of your choice, an incentive. Job is decided well in advance by caste. The private capitalist economy function on incentive. Your preference, and that is not allowed here. Preferences are decided at the birth. In fact, if I remember correctly, Dr. Ambedkar, when he submitted the first memorandum to the South Bureau Committee, there is a mention in the discussion, not in the interview, he said, he quoted the case of economic discrimination among many others, that a Mahan woman was arrested in the city of Bombay for selling the water meter. She was taken to police custody and she was told that by law, Bahar cannot sell vegetable and fruits because they are polluting caste. So you can see the economic restriction on visitors. Now this is how we analyze the caste. The roots of economic inequality are in the caste system. Now let us come to the ways. What are the ways that for economic development and equitable development, and that is very important. I quickly now come to that aspect. I want to make one point and then I go to me. If you look at Dr. Ambedkar's writing, the platform and the justification that he has offered for a particular kind of economic development is not based on the fact that there is a lot of poverty around, there is the fact that there is a lot of income inequality around, there is the fact that there is a lot of malnutrition. Of course, that is the outcome of the economic inequality, there is no doubt about it. But his entire argument for a particular kind of economic development and for equitable development is based on right. The people began to talk right-based approach to development. Dr. Ambedkar began right-based approach in 1920 in his first memorandum to the South Bureau. He didn't argue poverty and income distribution as a basis for whatever he had proposed. It was the right. And he had developed an entire approach for the affirmative action policy, for particular economic development, for land reform and others based on the right principles. If you look at the first memorandum that he submitted to South Bureau, Second memorandum to Simon Commission in 1929, the revised memorandum in Roundtable Conference in 1931 and 91. Then the paper that he presented in Canada, he didn't go, he sent NCUR to make a presentation, but it was a consolidation of his memorandum in Roundtable Conferences. And then of course proposal to Cabinet Mission, and final the state and minority. If you all take this, is our way specific policies of affirmative action and economic development on the basis of right. That individuals have certain fundamental rights and civil rights, and these rights are violated in the capitalist economy based on private ownership of production. These are violated in the caste system and economics of caste system, and that is how he grounded all his argument. That has to be understood. 44% 50 years later, people are now began to talk about right-based approach to development. He began it in early 20s. Now, what are his solutions? To cut it short, we are already 12 o'clock, I'll take another 10-15 minutes. Cut it short. In fact, when I read him, he was in a situation where he analyzed the problem. And you see immense poverty and malnutrition, lack of resources. But he doesn't have help from economic theory. He doesn't have much help from social. He argued how the rich face economic discrimination in market, in labor market, land market, in business. In South Belo memorandum, he argued that they are not allowed in business, they are not allowed in military, they are not allowed in police, but also in business. And he developed his concept of caste discrimination in market. And the economic theory of discrimination around race and gender came here, 1956, Becker, then Arrow, and then a whole lot of European economists. And he traveled out to India. No, even today, no university in the country except Delhi School of Economics and I think Ambedkar University Lucknow teaches course in economics and discrimination. See that. Congratulate her. Now, he did not have any help, and so he developed his own concept of this concept of economic discrimination, market discrimination, and the solution. But again, he developed in the context of rights. He didn't develop in the context of other consideration. Now, there are two solutions that he has given, because I am cutting short. All his memorandum gives you an insight of his thinking to find out the solution. He was a man of solution. He will analyze the problem, but solution was very important. When Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru submitted the first resolution of aims and objective of Indian Constitution, what objective and aims we should have before we write down the Constitution, and he was the first person to speak on that, and he said that the objectives are noble: economic equality, social equality, justice, liberty, freedom. But he said, I'm so disappointed that there are no solutions, there are no means to achieve this equality. And how can you achieve equality unless your land is nationalized and industrialized? So he really criticized the Nehru resolution because there was no solution, they were pious over. And therefore, he tried to give the solution each time. Let me discuss very briefly. First, I gave the solution for economic development. And second, then I go for inequality and inequality. In economic development, he had a solution. Even if we ignore all his writing, DSc thesis, PhD thesis, and 2 theses for masters, which deals with the issues of that time: exchange rate, monetary policy, public expenditure policy, revenue policy. Even if we ignore that, there are certain writings of Ambedkar which gives you a theory of economic development, and a very sound theory of economic development. What are those writings? I briefly mention and then I'll give the main point. Some of those have been already pointed out by that. First paper is, of course, Small Holding in India, published in 1980. The issue was the problem of small holding. Then second is reconstruction plan. I was asked to write a book on Ambedkar's roles and water and power policy by the Central Water Commission. They gave me a proposal, and I say, I read Dr.B.R.Ambedkar very carefully, but I have not seen his role in water and policy except some writing here. He said, no sir, we have this paper, some of the paper. So I accepted 45,000 rupees, collected some material from here and there, and paid the 80. But there it emerged. He almost emerged as a founder of India's water and power policy. Then I talked to the chairman of the Central Water Commission. I said, you don't do a single thing without writing on the paper. Why? How come Damodar, Hirakud, your own office, the chair on which you are sitting, it is written there, pink, the organization that Dr. Ambedkar set up. Do without filing. He was a gentleman called Joseph from Nagpur. And he said, he understood what I was saying. He said, okay, another 40,000 and 6 more time. And I give all the files to you. I had the access to the record book. It's water and power. I enter and I saw those documents. I only got 1,000 pages of it. And you can see Dr. Ambedkar's lecture and comments and everything. In that book where I presented water and power policy, I gave Dr. Ambedkar's 5 lecture on water and power policy in toto to convince people, because they will not believe how can Ambedkar also contribute to water and power policy. But I have given 5 of them, I have given letters, I have given signature. The important point that I want to tell you, forget about water and power at the moment, that in 1942 when he became a minister, the Britain and the war countries developed the Marshall Plan for Europe. Entire infrastructure in Europe was destroyed. So they developed a master plan, but they developed a rehabilitation plan for those countries who had helped the England and others. And India being one, the British government said that you have a rehabilitation plan, the soldiers will come back, they will have to be re-employed. The factories that are producing war equipment will have to be converted into industry which will produce consumption goods, develop a rehabilitation plan. And all the ministers will remember Dr. Ambedkar was one of them. He was the only economist who could understand what is planning. And I was surprised to see those all documents of reconstruction plan. Water policy, power policy came later, but planning for India. And what they did, they converted this rehabilitation plan into a restructured plan, economic restructured plan. And you could see the impact of Dr. Ambedkar's thinking literally on everything. In 1980 paper, he produced those ideas on economic development. He applied those ideas into an economic plan. That was the first economic plan, remember me. It was quietly transferred to the first 5-year plan, but never Dr. Ambedkar, their effort was recognized. I don't know why. So you could see his views. Now, I would like to say that he developed a theory of economic development in 1918. What is that economic theory? He told the solution was suggested, as Dr. Nanjali has pointed out, that consolidate small holding and increase the land size. Larger holding are more efficient than small. So increase the land size and efficiency will go increase. Dr. Ambedkar took an economist position. It's a legal solution, consolidation of holding. You are forcing people to put the land together from one place to the another. Increase the land size won't work. Your productivity is low simply because you have more labor and less capital in agriculture. There has to be a proportion between the two. The proportionality of input use in agriculture is a key thing. Your surplus labor, idle labor. So take this idle labor to industry, invest more capital in agriculture and productivity. Now he gave a solution that to take the surplus labor from agriculture to industry, you have to have industrialization. So he emphasized industrialization very much. For the positive backward impact on agriculture, as the people will move away, land pressure will go down, land size will increase. Once the land size automatically increases, productivity increases. And he will also that as in mind. He had told the untouchable in Maharashtra, go to the city. The reason was the progressive character of urban centers and towns. Now, I want to make one important point here, and that is that industrialization to surplus labor is a thesis developed by Arthur Lewis in 1956 on the concept of surplus labor. He got a Nobel Prize. Here is Dr. Ambedkar, developed the same thing. You ask Ram Deshpande and Madeshwar, they will tell you unlimited supply of labor and economic development is a classic paper by Arthur Lewis, then it got on board. But the very basic idea is what is the one which Dr. Ambedkar has developed in his paper. I do not know whether Arthur Lewis read that paper or not. Dr. Ambedkar mentioned that the first person to have mentioned ideal labor was James in 1884 for England Act. So Dr. Ambedkar picked up the concept of ideal labor from there, but applied to the Indian situation and estimated that how, as Anthony has said, that about 1/3 of labor may be surplus, more from agriculture. But imagine the powerful concept, theoretical concept of economic development that he has developed. And remember well, the entire second 5-year plan, third 5-year plan was based on this very concept. You have to read book by development planning by Sukhadeo Thorat, and it is the same model that they have given. Move labor from agriculture to industry, have industry, and basic and pay industry, government sector. So that was his contribution. Now the important thing is that he take this theoretical apparatus of economic development and apply it, being the member of the restructuring group. He is being one of the most outstanding economists. There is something. So I have a lot of quotation, but I won't take your time, that how he developed the objective of the reconstruction plan and the goal of the reconstruction plan and the strategy of the reconstruction plan based on the theoretical framework that he developed in 1980. In fact, somebody came to me, J. Krishnamurthy, even an economist, and he said, Professor Thorat, can you educate me on one thing or more, in which year Dr. Ambedkar got a PhD? I said, 1960, somewhere around there. He said, no, it is the Columbia Assist 1927. I said, they had a practice that unless the thesis is being published, they won't formally award it. But the provisional certificate was given to him on the basis of which he got a job in Bombay. He said, that is the case, then Dr. Ambedkar was the first person from India to have completed PhD in economics. Second was Moki. So read book by J. Krishnamurthy where he brought out Indian economics. Now here is a man, he applied this theory to the actual plan and developed the concept of economic development, industrialization. There are two things that we mentioned of his thought. So what is his concept then? Industrialization, sucking of surplus labor to industry and urban center, increasing the land size, increasing land productivity, investing. That is precisely what we are doing. We are investing in agriculture, taking out surplus. But there are two more aspects of equity that we must do. And those are, for every point he is ahead of everybody. He said the planning, there is a need for planning, but the planning has to be pro-poor also. It has to be pro-labor, because he was a labor minister. So he developed a special plan. He said industrialization should be such that it reduces poverty. There's long quotation here, I don't want to take your time. So industrialization should be such that it reduces poverty. Water development, electricity is supportive to industrialization. So the concept of pro-poor economic development that we are talking about now in 2008 was sort of laid down by him in 1940. The concept of economic development with respect to poverty has traveled quite a lot. I have discussed a little bit in the beginning, but as I told you, it started with Kuznets that increase your income, it will trickle down to the poor, poverty will reduce, which did not happen. Then in 2000, through a series of discussion in 2008, they came with the concept of the economic development with a focus on poor. But before coming to focus on poor, they developed a concept of inclusive growth, which we have accepted. So inclusive growth was inclusive of poor. Some brought more clarity. No, inclusive development